Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to this very special session today on Nostos Homecoming, the Stoem. And I'm in conversation with Afsana Badar, who is the author of this book. So, for all our viewers who are live, welcome, and everyone who is watching the replay, welcome. Let me know in the comments where you are watching this from, and I am really excited to have this conversation with Afsana today. Welcome, Afsana.
Hello, everybody.
So, before we begin, I just want to do a little introduction of Afsana. Afsana is a homeopath who lives in the nature bound Mehdibag colony in Nagpur, Maharashtra. Having grown in the lap of nature, she has developed an innate passion for writing about its beauty and wonders. So, Afsana, you are a homeopath, you come from this family of doctors, and then you have written this book. So that is really amazing. So tell me all about your love for writing, and where did this begin? And medicine and writing, I feel, are like two different worlds. So how come you landed up in both?
Right. Thank you so much for the generous introduction. Actually, my family is of doctors. You are also a part of it. And from my childhood, I always thought that, okay, I know doctors, I know engineers, but authors is something very big. And I thought I could never write a book, at least. And it was always a dream for me to write. And yes, it happened.
And of course people would of course write a book. They would write a storybook, a novel, or a non-fiction book, and yet you came up with a book using limericks, and that is like so unexpected. And I think you have totally created a new genre by yourself, which you have called a stoem. So where did this come from? And how did you even begin writing? When I was reading your book, I said, wow, how does she even come up with these words?
Right. So actually, I used to write a bit in my school days. But yes, poetry was there. I liked writing poetry. But yes, this thought had never come to me also. And one fine day, I was just writing, and I wrote five liners, and I realized that these are limericks. And from my childhood, I'm very fond of poetry, rhymes, and all those figures of speech. They fascinate me a lot. So this is how this turned into a book.
Well, limericks is good, and so people would come up with a book of poetry, right? But you have come up with this entire novel, which is like a whole story. And you have a book of 125 pages, which includes the foreword and all that. So if we exclude all that, 100 pages. So how did you actually come up with this whole story, which you have written in the form of limericks? And from all
Uh,
our viewers who all have read Afsana's book, type in the word Stoem in the comments just to show us that you have read Afsana's book.
so yes, it started just five liners, then another five, then another five. And then generally when we write poetry, we go up to 20, 25 verses and then we stop. But then suddenly a thought came to me, okay, why not write the whole thing, the full story in the form of a poem? And I just coined the word and I called that poems. So it's a
So,
story in the form of a poem.
so did you like have an idea of a story, and then you started writing it in the form of a poem? Or was it the other way around, that you started writing the poem and you realized that, oh my God, this is a story that is emerging?
Yeah, actually, it was the other way around only. So I write short stories also. So when you write a story, you have the plot in mind, the main characters in mind, how the story will go. Maybe you don't know how the story will go, but you know, okay, what would be the end. But when it comes to rhyming, it's a little bit different. So you need to rhyme, rhyme, rhyme. And you won't believe, but all the character names have also come while I was writing. Means I had never thought of the names, that the protagonist would be this, then his love interest would be this, mother, etc., etc.
So you would say like I know a poet, and of course I can never write poetry for the life of me. I could never really imagine that. And then he writes a lot of poetry, and so one day I was asking him, I said, how do you even come up with the inspiration, and forget the inspiration, how do you come up with the words when you write it? And he told me something. He said, well, I wake up in the morning and I have all these lines in my head and I do that. So is that process similar for you?
That happens with me true, but that happens with me during the night. I suddenly wake up and okay, I have to write these lines, and I just wake up and write those lines. And if you
Okay,
don't
so
do
you wake
at
up
the
in.
moment, it's gone.
Okay, and that's exactly it. Because I write. I of course don't write. I don't write poems, but I do write books and other stuff. And then in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and I'll have these beautiful sentences, and I can see how much they're going to impact people. And of course, I'm very lazy to get up and actually write them. So by the time I wake up in the morning, I said, "Oh, I had that wonderful thought in the night, but I never got around to doing
Yes,
that."
it goes away. If you don't do at the moment, it goes away.
So, okay, let me ask you a different question. And that is that, do you have, are you working on something, like part two of the Stoem, or is there something else that, it's simmering in the background, or you don't want to talk about it?
I really hope I'd be able to write part two, because poetry, a full novel is a bit difficult. But yes, definitely. Actually, with me, I don't write daily. People write daily 2 pages or 500 words, or I don't write that way. When I'm in the mood to write, I just write for the whole day, for the whole week, for the whole month, and then there's nothing for so many weeks or months. So if that mood comes again, and if I continue, maybe I'll give a second one, but I'm not sure now.
So you mean to say when the creative juices are flowing, then you flow with
Yeah,
the writing, and then when they
yeah,
dry up,
yeah.
then you go ahead and enjoy the rest of life and don't do anything.
Yes,
I
yes,
totally get it. Like
absolutely.
I'm a part of these groups, which is full of prolific writers and so on. And they talk about I wrote 10,000 words and 20,000 words, and I say, oh my God, these are really dedicated writers, and
Right.
I am really not one of those. I cannot write on tap. It has to flow when it has to flow. And to
Even I
all our
don't.
listeners, again, I'd love to know where you all are from. Let me know the place that you are from. And if you have any questions for Afsana, please put your questions in the comment, and definitely we will ask those questions. So, Afsana, uh, how does medicine, how do these two worlds of medicine and poetry kind of intermingle, or, where do they meet? And tell me a little bit about that.
So, as you already mentioned, that I'm from a family of doctors, so I've always seen my mother, my father taking care of people, and even animals, and I'm very fond of animals. And as I'm from Medibag colony, the colony is already in the lap of nature, so I've always been very close to nature and animals. And whereas in medicine we cure the patient or heal the patient, same way I feel about animals also. And anything which I write revolves around nature, so nature, animals, poetry.
Okay, so tell me something about this book that you have never shared before, that, or you have not even told anyone, not your family, not your loved ones. Tell me something.
That's a difficult question.
Well, let's see what you have hidden from everyone.
Why do you want to put me in a sauce?
Well, I'm testing your creative juices. From people who have read the book, and I'm sure that you got wonderful reviews. In fact, we have like a book reading club in the community that I live in, and I've actually shared today's conversation with them, and I have a few books with me, so I'm going to give one or two books to them. And
Oh,
one of
that's
them said,
great.
I would love to write a review about it. So, from all the reviews that you have received about the book, what do people love the most about the book?
People just love the way the book is written. So, and one surprising thing which many of my reader, I told them, okay, okay, now you've read the book, why don't you let someone in your family or your friends read the book? And they are like, no, we are not going to part with this book because we are going to read it the second or the third time. And that is when I really feel satisfied. And many of my other readers connect with me daily on WhatsApp saying, okay, I've reached till this chapter, I'm doing this chapter. So that is also very humbling.
So, we have a question here. How did the idea of your protagonist as a bird come to your mind? Of course, you've shared your love for animals, but why did you choose a bird specifically?
So I'll tell you how I started writing. I used to take my daughter for badminton classes, and there I had to sit for an hour. And this was around 4 5 years back. And I usually carried my headphones because I love listening to music and songs. But that day, maybe I forgot, and I thought, okay, what to do? So let's write. So all the stories from childhood, they begin with once upon a time. If that sentence comes in front, anybody says that sentence once upon a time, I'm like all ears. Yeah, this person is going to tell me something very interesting. So it started like that. And then I told you, so I could write 5 lines. And then I realized that these are limericks. And then the flow went on and on.
So, like, how long did it take you to actually complete this whole book?
So actually, I had started in 2017. I had written around for a month or so. And I had completed 4 5 chapters. Not the stoems which follow each chapter, they were not written at that time. That idea had not come even. Okay, I have to do something like that also with the book. And then I had other commitments. I had my post graduation course, and then COVID happened and everything, and there was nothing. But this was in my phone in Word document. And then in 2022, May, June, I had completed the full book. That's how it happened, that when you're writing, you're writing.
So it's like, this concept marinated on your phone for 3 years, and then in 2 months you sat down and
Yeah,
finished.
right. And
Okay, tell
you
me
know phones
something.
change, but phones change, but you always have those backups, no? Yeah, I had my Microsoft Word backup, so it came from one to another. And if I couldn't have retrieved it, it would have gone.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to happen, so it
Right.
remained. Okay,
Absolutely.
tell me something like the development of the character Pepper, from the beginning to the end. Did it surprise you? Did you feel like the book took on a life of its own, and it was it was creating its own journey, it was making up its own story, and you were kind of just a witness, typing away while it happened?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was very much like that only, because I had just started, and when I had written a few chapters, I was like, okay, the bird is there and he wants to travel the world, he wants to explore the world. But what will happen after each chapter, I had no idea. And my sister was like, what is your plan? What are you writing? What is the end? And I was like, I don't know. And she was, what? How? It does not work like that. People don't write novels like that or stories like that. And I told her, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I can totally relate to what you are saying. So, Afsana, which is your favorite chapter in the book?
My favorite chapter is the lovebirds. But yes, I've already spoke about those in an earlier interview. So today, if you want to listen to how the story goes or the flow of this stoem, I'll read another one for you.
Go for it.
Okay. So this chapter goes as a
Okay,
dream come true.
I have to say something very
Yeah.
profound at this point of time. So there is
Okay.
this bookmark in the book, and my husband has been reading the book, and guess which chapter it is? The lovebirds.
Oh my God. That is my favorite chapter.
So which chapter are you reading, and what page number is it?
Uh, it's chapter 13, page 66.
Please.
Okay. Yeah. A dream come true. It's according to Pepper's perspective. For a few moments, I was stunned by the natural beauty below me in abundance. Oh, this was an enormous sea. I was on an adventure spree. Fulfillment of dreams is a satisfying event. You might have noticed that the rhyme scheme goes as A, B, and A, and that continues in all the limericks. What a spectacular sight lay below. I seemed to flow with the water's flow. I had seen the magnificent mountains and the enormity of the green plains, but the sea was an altogether different show. The shoal of fishes formed unusual shapes, sometimes hearts and sometimes spades. The huge waves put them above and below. The waters had a silvery glow, their bodies piercing through it like blades. I was enjoying my flight above the vastness below when a dark shadow seemed to fill the space below. Suddenly, a fountain of water was ejected. All my feathers felt wet and submerged. I wonder, I wondered if we were flying that low. Instantly, Mint pulled me higher. A huge fish had jumped out of the water. It was as huge as a mountain, larger than the elephant the titan. I tried quickly to soar a bit higher. What creature is this? I asked Mint. Due to the glare, she had to squint. Oh, this is the largest animal on earth. It is grand and majestic since its birth. It's the great blue whale Candescent. While we continued with our flight, I thought of descending from the height. Low I went to touch the waves. Mint was shocked at how I behaved, but it was an experience of a lifetime. Should I go on?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I remember
I
that,
would go
I
on and
was,
on.
yeah, I know. I remember that, you had sent this to me long before it was printed. And I was like in
Right.
awe as to how you could have created this amazing book and, completed the whole thing. It is just beautiful. So, is there anything that you want to share with our listeners before we finish our conversation?
Yes, definitely. Please go and buy the book. It is something which you should have on your bookshelf if you are a real book lover, because we have all those different kind of books we want to read, fiction, non-fiction, poetry, and this is a novel in verse. And yes, I'm doing a little survey for the word stoem to have its place into an authentic dictionary like the Oxford or the Collins. And for that, please go to my website www.afsanabadar.com. There you'll get the survey. There it's just a click away. You have to click yes, okay, yes, you agree to the meaning of the word stoem as a story in the form of a poem. And yes, do give it a read.
Let us type the link to your website here.
Okay. And it's available on all Amazon platforms. In India, it's also available in paperback format. But for my friends and viewers from around the world, it's in the Kindle edition,
And
Kindle version.
I have another question. Is it also available on Goodreads? Do you know?
The books are not available on Goodreads. Goodreads is in collaboration with Amazon. So you can put a review there or you can read the reviews there, but you can buy from Amazon. Goodreads is
Okay.
not a selling or buying site. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic, Afsana. Thank you so much for joining us. And I love your beautiful book, and I love that chapter that you read for us today. And I'm going to
Thank you
go
so
back
much.
and read that chapter, Lovebirds. And so, if you are a reader of Afsana's book, and if you have read her book, do write in the comments which was your favorite chapter. And if you have not yet read
Definitely.
Afsana's book, please go ahead and get that book and read it. And it is really something very, very
One
different
more thing
that,
I would like to tell to my viewers, at the end of the book, I have I have put character sketchbooks. So the story is about animals. So if those animals were human beings, how they would be, that is at the end of the book. And do let me know which character you relate to the most.
yes. So, everyone who has read, please write down in the comments which is your favorite character from that book. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you so much, Afsana, for joining me today. And I can't wait to own the part two of this book.
God willingly, yes, it'll be soon.
Bye,
Thank you so much
everyone.
for having me. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody, for listening. Thank you.